my God. I almost forgot my glasses. Hi there. You're listening to and or watching North of Weatherfield, a Canadian Coronation Street podcast.
And this is episode 13, and we are talking about episodes that aired from April 1st to April 5th in Canada. So if you haven't watched them yet, don't listen, don't watch. It's all just, we're just talking about what happened.
Avert your ears and eyes, and or eyes.
But on the other hand, if you went away on holiday and you can't be bothered catching up on the PVR.
This is perfect.
There you go.
This is perfect.
Yep.
My name is Brittlestar.
My name's Shannon.
These aren't our real names, of course. Our real names this week are...
I'm Amy.
That's pretty good.
No, you can't tell me that. You don't know.
You kind of real... For people who can't see this, who are just listening, Shannon basically transformed magically into Amy.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Who are you?
I'm going to be, because mine's similar, mine's going to be Sean.
Oh. That was pretty good.
Thank you.
It was no Amy, but it was pretty good.
It was pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't put a lot of effort into it. All right, Shannon, what are we talking about? Give us the rundown.
So I'm going to tell you who we're going to be talking about, and then you're going to do the theme.
Oh, yeah.
That I'm sure you have open.
I have, yeah.
We are going to be talking about Eliza, Dom, Stu, and Yasmeen.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about Simon, about Dylan, about Joseph, Linda, Gemma, and Chesney.
Yeah.
About Amy, Steve, Tracy, and Tommy O.
Mm-hmm.
And the big one about Lauren, and therefore about Bobby, Roy, Daniel, et al.
That's big things. Big things of brewing. You can hear it, but you can't see it. Let's try that again. There we go.
It feels like today is a lesson to be learned from Hurried's Never Quick.
As my gran would say, hurried is never quick. But it's also one of those things where it's things that you expect things to go normally and they just don't.
Well, plus we're already a day late because we were distracted yesterday by a swan parade. So that's a good excuse.
That's a fine excuse.
Yeah.
Let's get into it, Shannon.
All right. Eliza and Dom and Stu and Yasmeen.
Yeah.
So Dom has told Stu that he doesn't want, I have to stop calling him, I know his name's Stu. Who are we kidding? It's not Stu.
It makes my skin crawl as someone's
that
name is Stu.
That he doesn't want Eliza to know he's back for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. I get it if you're just back for a weekend.
That's not a good father. That's not good parenting. Get it if you're back for a weekend?
Well, no, but meaning if he thinks he's going to sneak in and sneak out without her seeing him.
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. I understand.
He's hanging around the precinct and...
Yeah, that's dumb. There's other places. Manchester's big. I've been.
Anyways, Dom comes back, tells Stu he doesn't want to see Eliza, gives the money back, and says that he's going to go back to Germany to try harder with his German family.
Which is a bit of a kick in the...
Yeah.
Ghoulies.
So Eliza pops into Speed Dial to borrow some money.
Yeah.
To go to the cinema or something. And goes to get Stu's wallet and finds the envelope with the wads of cash.
Yes.
So first of all,
there's lots of things here.
She's like, whatever, 12.
Yeah.
She's looking for a wallet. She knows what his wallet looks like.
Of course she does.
She's like, oh, let me just pick out this random manila envelope that might have business papers in it, and I'll open
rifle through it.
And then she pulls out a big wad of cash, but then that doesn't distract her enough. She searches through it again and pulls out the note.
Well, that's just staying true to reality, because what interests children more than wads of cash? A piece of paper. A folded note.
So the note was from Dom, and so basically Stu and Yasmeen had to come clean about everything that had happened. And they also told her she had a half brother in Germany, which she didn't want to believe at first, but then she did. So she's upset.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they tried to keep her happy. Like, just give her 100 quid. She'd probably be a lot happier.
Just shut her up. Here's some hush money.
She'd be like, okay, whatever.
Here's some shut up money.
So she's at school, and Hope has just helped Joseph talk to his physics teacher about his problems in school. Mm-hmm. So Hope's on a roll. She's like, I'm going to fix everything.
Going to fix everything.
Let's go find your dad.
Right. And if we can't, I'll burn it to the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So first of all, I think they were they at Debbie's hotel? It seemed like it.
Well, it seemed like it, except I think whenever they go to a hotel, they're like, let's pull out the hotel set.
But it certainly was a nice hotel that I wouldn't have expected Dom to be staying at, especially after just handing back that money.
That's off season. So maybe.
So they pull up at a table, getting ready to play a little chess while they're waiting. And lo and behold, Dom just walks by right there.
Right there.
So Eliza goes and talks to him, tells him she knows everything. And she asked Dom if his German family know about her. And he says they don't. Which would be, I think, the biggest kick in the teeth.
I know. What's this guy playing at?
And then later with Stu and Yasmeen there, she says that she wants to go and live with Dom in Germany. And Dom says, I need to tell the family about you first.
Right.
So, do we believe she'll ever see Dom again? Does Dom genuinely want to have further contact with her and introduce her to his family?
Yeah, I do think we're going to see Dom again. I think because he's a good character. I think there's some potential depth to his character. I think there's even a potential to have his German family come to Weatherfield.
We don't have many little ones on the street, so
no, there's not another crop, and also get the little bit of the exotic accent in there. Because who did we have for exotic accents? We haven't had many exotic accents.
No, she's German, but I don't know if her name was German.
You think she might speak English?
She might be. Germany. I can't remember.
Oh, that'd be.
I haven't heard Dom speak German. Mind you, Germans are pretty good at English.
Yeah.
So the idea that Dom, whatever, I don't know, how old is he? 45-year-old man?
40-something. Yeah.
He's gone to Germany and he hasn't mentioned he has a kid. Like I would feel if I started dating someone who was in their 40s.
You would expect them to have a kid.
I think there's a really good chance.
Why don't you have a kid?
I would think there's a good chance that they're divorced if they're dating.
Yeah.
And that they have children.
Yeah.
So
for those of you listening at home, Shannon is grimacing her face.
We should tell Amy about it.
Well, this just a major Amy face.
Amy wouldn't stand for that.
No.
All right. Simon. So lovely little storyline with Simon this week. Simon was the hero of the week. If we're doing thorns and roses, he gets the roses.
What? We're doing thorns and roses?
Yeah.
Where's that from?
Every reality TV show reunion.
Is that what they call it? Thorns and roses?
No, it's supposed to be the good thing and the bad.
Well, I'm aware. I understand the analogy, but I've never heard the terminology before. It sounds
it's all part of the same thing.
I thought it was a horse riding thing you were talking about.
No.
Isn't it?
No, thorns are really bad. Horses don't like them.
Well, that's why they're the bad part. Who would want that?
So Sam said he was going to write a letter of reference for Simon's trial.
Yes.
That was coming about because Simon was drunk driving with Sam in the car, crashed the car, left the scene. Simon is being all turned over a new leaf. He has cooked scrambled eggs and smoked salmon on toast for breakfast.
Yeah.
And what does Nick say to that?
He says he stole it from their bistro, the recipe.
Stole the recipe from the bistro.
Give it a break, Nick.
Scrambled eggs and smoked salmon.
There's not much of a recipe there.
No, I think he said the chives gave it away.
Yeah, the chives. Get out of here. Get out of here.
So Nick's all grumpy. Nick says he's not going to go to the hearing. Sam has also written a good luck note to Simon that he's left for him on the day. And in it, he says he hopes that Simon doesn't go to jail. GAOL.
Yes.
Which Simon fully appreciates.
As old-timey, old English spelling.
Exactly. Exactly. Nick ends up going to the hearing. Simon gets a 6-month driving ban, 80 hours of community service, and he seems very happy with
Gets off pretty lightly.
He is.
Yeah. Could have been a lot worse.
More than content.
Yeah.
At home, Nick, who had gone to collect Simon from school, and now they know that Sam bunked off. Not gone to collect Simon from school, Sam. And they know that Sam had bunked off for the day because of the whole Hope Dom thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Nick's all upset, and Sam was just like, I won't apologize. I was helping my friend.
I was helping a friend.
But then Sam, good old Sam, they said, well, but we were worried about you. And he said, okay, I apologize.
In that case, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so
he's the most sensible one on the street.
Well, apart from now, Simon. Because Sam wasn't. Well,
Simon has to get a haircut first.
No, it's looking under control again.
No, he needs some more control style.
No, he's back.
Needs a bit of a style.
But Sam wasn't allowed to watch any screens. He had a screen ban, punishment for bunking off. So Simon said he'd go and play chess with him. It's been
a sharp hairpin arc turn for Simon, hasn't it?
Simon really is the best parent in that house right now for Sam.
I think he really is.
He's the only one who's interested.
I think that Leanne frets way too much.
But doesn't do much
about fretting.
Yeah.
Except kind of hides it, makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Nick is just,
I don't know what's going on with him.
I mean, he does have a head injury.
That's true. His traumatic brain
Which
injury.
we thought that was dealt with, but maybe not.
Maybe not.
You never know.
Yeah. Okay, Dylan. So this was also a good week for Dylan.
I'm very invested in the storyline still.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I think because I like all of the main players in it, really.
Me too, and I like. Well, you can summarize it first for those of you who don't know.
So Dylan went to go to Liam to apologize for his involvement in everything, and Liam tells him that he had been thinking of killing himself.
Yeah,
which Dylan is horrified
at.
Dylan goes home and tells Sean that he intends to plead guilty when he goes to his hearing because he knew what he was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
And he should have known better.
Mm-hmm.
And he says he's going to stay away from Mason. Then Gary sees Dylan and Mason talking in Victoria Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
And Gary goes and tells Sean. Sean's flipping out.
Yeah.
Dylan says it's not true. But the conversation was essentially Mason telling Dylan, thanks for pleading guilty. I'm planning on not having anything to do with this. And then brought up a bit that I'd forgotten about, which you half remembered.
Okay, go on.
And I half remembered, which was Mason was driving Tyrone's car.
Oh, yes.
Stolen car.
Yeah.
When Eliza's arm got clipped and broke her arm.
That's right.
But I can't remember like how Dylan knew. Was Dylan in the car? Did Mason just see an opportunity and take the car?
If I remember correctly, it was brought up in conversation by Dylan and Mason, which connected the two scenes because it was really random scene of the car hitting her.
But I think we knew at the time that it was Mason in the car.
I don't think we knew it was Mason in the car.
I think you were on your phone then. Now I make you pay attention.
I've got this podcast. This podcast catches me up.
Yes. So if anyone remembers more about that better than we do, it won't be hard to remember it better than we do. We don't really remember that bit.
Yeah.
So anyways, Gary is telling Sean they're still in contact. Turns out Mason's prints were found on the knife, which corroborates Dylan's story.
Yeah.
That he was hiding the knife from Mason. But Dylan can still get in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. So Dylan says he's still going to plead guilty, as he knew what he was doing was wrong. He was just trying to be cool and popular with the girls.
Yes.
Which, full credit. And even Eileen came around with that.
Well,
because he was genuinely remorseful.
I think that's a realistic portrayal of someone's character. He's not just good or bad.
Yeah.
He's trying his best to self-preserve.
And he was doing something so, well, not trivial. It's not trivial when you're a kid, but trying to look cool and get it good with the girls. And his friend almost died as a result.
Yes, no good.
Yeah. So Dylan could be facing jail or juvie time if he pleads guilty.
Yeah.
With that whole thing of when you plead guilty, they don't really get to hear everything, I think. I'm sure they get to make a statement, but
yeah.
And Sean is panicked because that could, like, first of all, be traumatic for him, but also affect his employment record.
His life.
Yeah. So here's the question.
Okay.
Is Dylan doing the right thing? Should Dylan plead guilty?
See, I have so many. I have a big issue with this because I think, like, you know, as Dee Dee is recommending, the lawyer is recommending to plead guilty. That's your surest guarantee of getting the least amount of repercussion from this or consequence.
Is Dee Dee still recommending he plead guilty?
I think so.
Okay.
Maybe, or at least she did, didn't she?
I thought she was saying to Sean. I thought she was the one saying to Sean, like, be careful. This can have grave implications.
Well, I think she was. I think she was saying, here's what the deal is. So I have a problem with that because he didn't do it, and nothing gets solved by him pleading guilty.
Right.
All it does is get it off the desk of the judge.
So it's almost more like you want to say, I'm partly at fault. Using a different word than guilt.
It should be partially guilty.
Yes.
Yeah, why don't we fix that?
Yeah, let's get on it.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think he can't plead guilty. He has to, but I worry about him.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. No, it's a nice lad, down deep.
Down deep, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying. All right. Joseph, I feel I should call him Joseph without opening my teeth. Joseph, Linda, Gemma, and Chesney. So Joseph is behind in his schoolwork because he was off so long when he was being sick.
Yeah.
Was sick. And then in hospital after his essential oils poisoning.
It's very serious.
I know. I'm just throwing back as a reminder.
No, I appreciate the reminder. But it is.
Well, I still remember what it was.
It's very serious, and it's very. It's just very funny just when you just say it on its own.
So he'd missed a ton of schoolwork while he was sick.
Yeah.
He had some physics homework, and he had only got to number 2. Didn't know the answers. Had not been able to work because of the quad chaos.
We've just kind of forgotten the fact that he has Lyme disease.
No. They thought he had Lyme disease, I think, but
they found it out it was Lyme disease, right?
I thought they just suspected that.
No, remember they said he'd gone camping?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the reason that he'd been feeling sick and stuff. That's why it was lethargic and hard to focus and all that.
Maybe they caught it in time and antibiotic the heck out of it.
It's just done.
Well, you can.
Can you?
You can if you get it soon enough.
That's good.
So he hadn't been able to get the work done. Kids everywhere. Can't focus. Didn't do that work in school anyways because he wasn't there. As he's panicking before school, all depressed, not panicking, despondent.
Yeah.
Aled wanders by and spills water or juice or something all over his homework. So now he's going with this. Also, where were the other 3 quads during this time?
No, it doesn't matter. They're fine. They're self-sufficient. Probably Emily Bishop though.
I did see Mike was saying that did Chesney not finish the attic? No, whose house had an attic to be finished?
They just keep
Someone
the kids
was doing a loft conversion. Remember?
Lock them up there and they're fine.
Someone was doing a loft conversion.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It could, maybe COVID couldn't get the drywall anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Supply chain issues.
Exactly. So Linda's back in town. And she suggests to Chesney that maybe she could send Joseph to Oak Hill. She'd cover everything. And I also like with Linda when she says cover everything, she's not just saying the words pay tuition. She absolutely knows cover everything means his uniform, his bus pass,
all that kind of stuff. Sure.
School trips, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And she says if he goes there, then he gets a bit of a fresh start with all of his classes. They're smaller classes.
Yeah, a bit more one-on-one time.
And Chesney's like, oh, that could be really great. I'll talk to Gemma about it. He mentions it to Gemma and she says, no. Purely because it's Linda, I think.
I think so too.
I don't think she had any other reason.
No, I don't think. I think there's a little bit. I think it was 90% because it was Linda. It was 10% because it's like that's above your station. You don't do that.
Right. So then they go home. Linda is showing Joseph the brochure, and he's super excited.
Sure.
And Gemma's like, "No, you're not going."
Yeah.
And Chesney was supporting Gemma, but reluctantly.
Yeah.
And Joseph's like, "I really want to go. Why don't I get to decide where I get to go for school?" And Linda said, "Why would you not want him to have the opportunities that we didn't have?" I like that. That reminder that.
She wasn't always rich.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Which is why she apparently makes a good chicken stew.
You don't have to say stew the same way.
I said stew.
As opposed to stew.
Stew. So what would you do? Would you?
Well, here's the thing. The thing that drives me nuts about Linda is that she's tactless. For someone who's so refined now, she's tactless. So there are ways for her to suggest that Joseph go to the fancy school, that she might be met with some resistance initially, but if she was tactful, she'd be like, let's talk about this.
Right.
We'd all just want what's best for Joseph.
Right.
So let's maybe do this. But instead, what does she do? She just whips out the catalog and starts sitting down when the parents aren't home.
Yeah.
That's tactless.
Yeah.
That's dumb. Because then there's more confrontation. And it's almost like it's a soap opera. Then there's more confrontation, and then that means it's going to put Gemma on her back foot. She's going to get her guard up and dig her heels in even more. If it was me, I would totally take it.
See, I'm very much not a fan of private industry where a good public industry is losing out because of the private. So
let's imagine we're in England.
I know. Well, yes,
it's too late.
Yes, it's too late. Private schooling is a thing. So on principle, it gets my back up. But then you look at, like, how are they going to get Joseph caught up?
Well, they're just not going
like,
to.
They're not going to.
Then he's going to be disadvantaged.
Yeah, and he's in I think first year of secondary school.
Yeah, he's never catching up.
No, he's going to have problems catching up, and they're going to have a hard time helping him with the stuff.
Yeah,
it's like you reach that point. It's all great when your kids are in grade school.
Yeah,
and then your kids suddenly come to you with their grade 10 math, and you're like, "Oh, I did this once."
But here's the biggest problem they have.
Okay.
With Gemma and Chesney.
Yeah,
is that there is a stubborn, pig-headed, stubborn pride.
Yes.
That they think they can do everything. I had problems right from the get-go when they had those damn quads. Where they had all that free stuff coming in.
Yes.
And they're like, we're just going to put your picture on a bus. Who cares?
Yes.
All of your stuff's paid for.
It means you can look after your family.
I mean, fair enough. This is coming from the guy who will do commercials. But still, I mean, I just remember thinking when they were the name of their picture on the bus, and that was the tipping point for Gemma. She's like, no, I can't do this anymore. This is terrible. Everyone talks about us. Who cares? People are going to talk about you anyway. At least you're going to have money.
They're having plus they were having a hard time affording to look after their kids. It's expensive.
So then they abandon all that for their pig-headed stubbornness, pride. And then now look at the situation they're in. Joseph's behind because he's got Lyme disease, which may or may not be cured. We don't know. And he's falling behind in school.
Yeah.
Linda's come along with an answer to that whole thing. And they're like, no, we don't want it. Chesney wants it.
I also, full credit to Joseph. Kids at that age, like a lot of kids that age would say, no, I can't. I don't want to leave my friends behind.
And that'd be valid.
Like, yep. But he was like, I think I need.
That's exactly it.
A fresh start.
If the kid says to you, yes, I'm excited about this, I want to do it, it's because they really want to do it and they see the benefit of doing it as well. Yeah. If Joseph had said, I'm not interested in changing schools.
Yeah.
I know I'm behind, but I'm socially, this is where I'm at. They'd be like, all right, this is where we're going.
Maybe Linda could have paid for Sam to go as well, though. We don't know how rich she is.
I don't know how rich she is, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Amy, Steve, Tracy, and Tomio.
They're really fired up in the last one.
I know, you were shouting for a bit.
I'll tone it down for you.
Okay. So Tracy tells Amy she's hurt. She didn't get a Mother's Day gift.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy's kind of like, what kind of mother are you?
For those of you just listening at home, Shannon transformed magically into Amy again. And
so at first Amy's very unapologetic about this, but then she's sort of like, okay, I'm just making it worse. You are my mother.
Mm.
And you're not, you've done some terrible things, but you're not a horrible human.
Right.
So Tracy convinces her they should go for a girly lunch.
Yes.
To the bistro.
Yeah.
Amy's not that keen on it, but she's like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She goes and arrives, and for the drinks order, she's like, I'll just have a lemonade. Like, she's like, we're not doing this girl gal pals thing.
Yeah.
And then while they're there, Tomio comes in as prearranged by Tracy, and he's having lunch with them.
Yes. What's happened to Spain?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. So Amy decides, right, screw this. And she's like, we will have a bottle of champagne, the most expensive one on the menu.
Yeah.
And funny enough, the way a bottle of champagne can work is towards the end of the meal, everyone was getting along great. It tends to go one way or the other.
Exactly.
This went well.
Yeah.
Tommy was a bit tipsy. Amy was a bit more forgiving. She's like, okay. And I mean, you could see that Tracy and Tommy actually had a nice relationship.
Yeah, but Tommy's going to split, man.
Oh, I know.
Tommy is going to split
what I'm
in no time at all.
They actually are suitable together.
I mean, for that lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're both pretending.
Well, I know. But it was nice. Take nice where you get it in this show. Because we've got not nice coming up. So, so yeah, she goes home and she sees Steve, and Steve's like, how did it go with your mom? And she was like, and he's like, it's okay to tell me that you had a nice time with your mom.
Yeah.
She's your mother.
Sure.
And I want you to be able to talk to me.
It's a very mature thing of Steve to say.
Yes. And then Amy was like, okay. And because as a parent, you want your kid to be happy.
Absolutely.
And she's like, actually, no, it was actually pretty good. We had a fun time.
Mm.
And then Steve said, did Tracy talk about Tommy at all? And Amy said, nope. So
set up for disaster.
Well, but also she was put in a horrible spot. I have a big problem with Tracy setting her up by saying, we're going to have a girly lunch that you're already not keen on.
By the way.
And then the girly lunch is actually going to be my new boyfriend?
Exactly.
That's
like quick kick arounds coming as well. That's a football soccer joke.
Okay.
A bit of a kick around.
Oh, right. Look, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was going to do something with balls, but it was too on the nose.
No, don't.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. To finish off. Lauren, which means Bobby, Roy, Daniel, Bethany, Max.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah. Cast of thousands.
So everyone on the street has been telling Bobby he's wrong about Roy. And Bobby's starting to think, oh, well, maybe I was wrong. First of all, though, full credit to Bobby. As the newcomer, it's good to look at these things from outside.
Sure.
Because when someone goes missing, it often is.
Yeah, no, for sure it is.
The person you least expect.
I thought you were gonna go into the story about how when you moved to Britain and everyone was saying, "Look, this is Jim will fix it," and then your whole family was like, "Well, you guys like this guy? There's something not good there."
Well,
and it turned out.
Maybe we'll see with Roy. Who knows?
That'd be terrible.
You have to have an open mind. It could be the person you least expect. So Evelyn says she has to go clear out Lauren's flat because it was Evelyn's flat that Lauren was subletting.
Right.
The place that she'd got for her and Cassie.
Yeah.
When Cassie was detoxing. And Roy offers to clear it out for her.
Yes.
And she's basically angling to get him to offer that anyways, I think. So he goes over.
Drives me nuts.
Does a thorough clean. Throws out almost everything, keeps a little pile of stuff for her, but throws out almost everything, including old condom wrappers.
Mm-hmm.
He's cleaning as you would in latex gloves, but then he strips them off, throws them in the garbage too afterwards. Everything has been cleaned within an inch of its life.
Yeah.
And while he's finishing up, Bobby comes up.
Yeah.
And Bobby is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh,
fair question.
Evelyn asked me to clean this. And he's like, we still don't know where Lauren is. Why are you clearing stuff up? Why are you throwing everything out? Have you thrown out all her stuff?
Yeah.
And Roy's like, oh no, I have this little bit of stuff to come back. Roy apparently also had paid the back rent on the flat.
Yeah.
He said as a favor to Evelyn.
Yeah.
So Sean goes after this clean because the landlord's looking to flip the flat. Sean goes to view it because Sean and Dylan are supposed to be moving out.
Right, getting kicked out.
Yes. Now, granted, Sean noticed there were bloodstains.
Yes.
Possible bloodstains.
Yeah.
But I generally thought for a start, Sean was being way too picky about this flat.
Oh, he was being way
He's got nowhere to go.
He's got nowhere to go.
He's talked about how he's been homeless before.
Here's a place that's really close to your work.
2 bedrooms.
It was 2 bedrooms. Get a grip, Sean.
Yeah. Anyways, we've definitely rented similar places.
Yes, we have.
Without the bloodstains that we knew of. We didn't spray biolumin.
We didn't, we also didn't go looking for them. Exactly. Yeah.
So Carla, Sally, and Sean are all starting to get worried about Lauren and Bobby, with Bobby talking to them. And Sean's like, I think I saw bloodstains. And everyone's starting to go, this maybe isn't good. Craig and D.S. Swain show up to interview Bobby. Yeah. In the cafe. Mm-hmm. And Bobby's like, Roy's, asked Roy. Roy fired her. Roy was cleaning out the flat.
Yeah.
Roy was doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they, so they go over to talk to Roy. And they're like, maybe we need to
some questions there. Sure. And I appreciate that. It's good police work.
Yep. So Craig and Swain go to the flat.
Yeah.
They see the remnants of the bloodstain on the carpet.
Yeah. And
they notice what might be bloodstains on the wall, the curtain.
Yeah.
And so they're like, we better call forensics in.
Yeah.
So Sabrina tells Max that he should be talking to the police about the Ovids thing. Mm-hmm. And Bobby's like, no, we can't tell him about Ovids. That makes Lauren look bad. And Max said, Sabrina said that safety trumps privacy.
And I agree with Sabrina.
I agree with Sabrina.
Yeah. Also, I thought that was a weird thing for Bobby to say.
Well, I think.
What if Bobby turns out to be horrible? He's been smoke screening us this whole time with his chipper chappy.
Yeah, maybe.
Because his dad was a murderer.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway.
And so Max and Bobby sit outside the flat all night watching the forensics team coming and going.
Yeah.
And in the morning, Max is like, that's when Max said, Sabrina says we should tell him. Bobby's like, no, let's sleep on it. And Max, I think, just thought, no, this is not good. I should go and tell. So he goes into the police station, asks for D.S. Swain, tells her about the Ovas, and she's like, yep, we already know because Ryan came and told us about it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell us about this when we were talking to you earlier?
See what? Bobby.
Oh,
I just want to get rid of Bobby.
Oh. Yeah. So she says, okay, we're going to do another interview with you. Come back with your parent. Mm-hmm. We'll do this. So he and David come back. Max, for a start, is being a bit combative, but I think that's just because he's 18 or whatever.
Yeah. Just our Max.
And he says that she had the mystery boyfriend, doesn't know if that's where the bruises came from. None of them ever saw the mystery boyfriend. And she's like, do you think he was just made up? And Max said, well, we thought that at first, but she would get calls from him. She would get texts from him. She seemed to be unhappy.
Yes.
And then he says, I think Daniel Osborne might be the mystery boyfriend. Mm. And David's like, I know you don't like Daniel. Don't throw him under the bus. And he's like, no. For a start, he has had relationships with sex workers.
Yeah.
And then I don't think it was helping Daniel's case later when he mentioned, well, I'll talk about him later. He's had a relationship with sex workers, and all his girlfriends and wives have been blondes.
Yeah.
And then D.S. Swain was like, Daniel Osborne, wasn't there something to do with another student? Because Summer had a bit of an obsessive crush on him.
That's right. But it turned out
not reciprocated.
No, it was just all Summer's side.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, all those things don't look good. So he also mentions that he'd been talking to Daniel and Bethany that day, and he said to Daniel, what happened? You were supposed to be tutoring Lauren on the 19th, which seems to be the last day she was seen. And he's like, oh, no, I wasn't supposed to be tutoring her. And Max said, she said you were. And he's like, no, don't think so. It's like, in fact, that was the day that I was supposed to spend the day with Bethany, but Bethany was busy, weren't you? And Bethany was like, I don't know, maybe.
She was like, I don't know. She was distant arm's lengthening herself.
I also thought it was weird, but
he said Lauren was lying. She was lying.
Yes.
Which was strong words, and I thought they're not the right words to use if you want to sound innocent.
Also, I thought Lauren's been missing for a few weeks.
Yeah. So
the fact that if someone says the 19th, I don't even know what today's date is.
Exactly.
If you said the 19th.
Yeah.
You know? So that was interesting. So they're like, okay, maybe we should go and talk to Daniel. Flash to Daniel and Bethany's flat. And Bethany's like, I think I should call the police to tell them about the white supremacists.
The article that she was working on.
Yes. And the fact that I might have stirred up this hornet's nest.
Yeah.
And Daniel was like, no, you don't need to do that. She calls them and they're like, okay, we're going to send someone over. And then 30 seconds later, Craig Tinker shows up.
The Tink shows up. Yeah.
And she's like, oh, that was fast. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, no, I'm here to take Daniel down to the station for questioning.
Yes.
Daniel's like, no, I don't need a lawyer. And then they bring up the Summer thing, the sex workers thing, which is not helping his case, that he says, no, I didn't have sex with the sex worker. I used to get her to wear my dead wife's cardigan and perfume, and she'd cuddle me. That just makes him sound crazier. He'd have been far better off saying he just liked to do quasi-illegal things.
We just got it on. Yeah.
Yes, so he calls Adam in with him. Things aren't looking good. He then also says that he remembers that he saw Maria in the caf that day, was talking to her when Lauren came in all dressed up. Again, how do you remember that?
Yeah, I know.
So what do you think of?
Well, I'm glad that when Daniel had brooding eyes Adam come in to help him out when he was being interrogated. Because he's got a very, because he's his brother, right?
or uncle or something. I don't know. I think maybe Daniel's Adam's uncle, even though he's younger. I'm not positive.
I can't remember exactly. But he had that sort of like, he's like, no, you got to just get this out. Just talk about it now. It's easier now than it will be later. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's Daniel at all. I think Daniel's just, he's got resting skeeve personality.
He's certainly willing to take advantage of any young woman, though.
He's not taking advantage of young women, do you think? Because he didn't do anything with Summer. He was horrified at that.
Yeah.
Rightfully.
Yeah.
Bethany's Bethany. I mean, come on. She was of age.
Just wait until D.S. Swain finds out about Daniel smooching away with Bethany, the babysitter, while his wife lay dying.
Okay, that was a bit of a character flaw. But apart from that, he seems like an upstanding young man. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, because I'm still not convinced that Lauren's actually in trouble or dead or gone. I think
she might have chosen to hide,
to disappear for a bit. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's also not helping Daniel's case that he keeps calling her a troubled girl.
I know.
Okay, final thing I'm just going to throw out there that I have nothing really, but just to end on a less depressing note.
Okay.
Nick and Toya. Is that going to evolve into something?
Nick and Toya. Where'd that come from?
Well, they get along well.
Yeah.
They've known each other for 30 years.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They just seem to be getting along quite well. Felt like they were moving towards something maybe. And then when, as soon as Simon's case was settled, Leanne was like, let's talk about the wedding again.
Right.
And Nick was like,
How can we talk about weddings? How can we talk about weddings when Simon's stealing my recipes? Get a grip.
But also, Toya and Leanne both had long-term relationships with Peter, so they don't mind sharing the same man, apparently.
The thing with Toya is Toya's cute for sure.
Yes.
And she seems like she'd be fun.
But a bit exhausting.
But I think that she's a little flaky.
Yes.
I think that part, I don't know. Leanne seems more concrete, but Leanne's just, trouble follows her.
Yes. Well, anyways, then just
of course, Toya also killed her husband.
Maybe intentionally, maybe not. We don't know.
Listen, it happens to the best of us.
Anyways, that's just my little palate cleanser.
That was pretty good. That was a lot of work. You do a tremendous amount of work for this, Shannon. It's worth it, though.
So that you don't have to make the notes.
So that I can look on my phone every now and then. And then every time we do the podcast, I'm like, oh, yeah, that happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening and or watching. Make sure you subscribe at weatherfield.ca. That's weatherfield.ca.
Does it cost money to subscribe?
No, it doesn't.
Wait, what can I do if I subscribe?
You can comment. You can get into the comments, and the comments are popping off. And I got to get more into the comments. I've been busy.
You said that last week.
I know. I'm going to get more into the comments because you're in there.
And you tell me what people say, and I'm like, did you put a like on it?
Well, because it comes through my email. And I see it on my email, and I never think to go click through. And I go, oh, look, that's a really good comment. And then I move on to the next email. So I do see them, but I'll try to make an effort to get
Groupon for scuba diving. I should look into this.
I don't have any more Groupon subscriptions, Shannon. Let's just play the theme. It's pretty good, isn't it?
That's too much.
It's not too much. It's just right amount. Do it, Amy, one more time. That's my Sean. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See ya.